Welcome to SerialPodcastNine.
Are you sad, Gerard?
Yeah, why is Gerard sad?
It's just a lot.
Did you not get enough trick-or-treating in?
No, that was fine. Trick-or-treating is fine.
Hey, before we do this, before you say anything, just do the intro.
I'm Gerard DiPeralta.
And I'm Kevin Peterson.
And I'm Ryan Benoit, and this is SerialPodcastNine, episode, what's your face? Okay. All right.
Welcome to the Thunderdome.
Gerard, why are you sad, Gerard?
I'm selling this hitch rack that's my old age and my lack of patience for tardiness. This guy's like, I can come at whatever time. I'm like, okay, come at 8:30 because we're probably going to be just getting home from whatever. And I could deal with you for like 10 minutes, put the kids to bed, and then this and that. So he messages me at 8:30. He's like, hey man, I'm running a bit late. It's like, I'll be there around 8:45. I'm like, okay, that's like fine because we were like a bit late too. 8:45 comes around. He's like, oh man, there's so much traffic. I'm like halfway there. I'm probably about like 20 minutes away still. I'm like, dude, you're like almost an entire hour late. Like,
yeah,
at night, and I gotta put kids to bed. I got like shit to do. Like it's fucking podcast to do. Like I got, like all this shit to do. Like I don't need to be waiting for this fucking dude.
Whoa. We should be your ray of sunshine. I don't know why you're saying.
I'm just saying, like, I have to do this podcast. And the guy's coming at like 9:15 now. And like, I literally just came in from like putting it in his fucking car.
Why didn't he put it in his car himself?
Because he's fucking injured and like can't lift things. And he hasn't worked.
Why does he need a bike rack? That's weird.
I don't know, man.
You don't talk people out of buying the thing you're selling.
It's a Swagman bike rack. I saw that and I was like, what a Gerard
Swagman,
for a bike rack is what I thought.
There's this one that I would like walk by every morning and it looks so crazy. Like it looks like it's like 2.5-inch square tubing. It's so big, it's bright red. I guess there's like velo rack on it.
Yeah.
That thing looks
is it the vertical type? Like all
Yeah,
those are nuts, man. Those are $800.
Dude, it looks so crazy. Like I'm not surprised.
Those are
all right.
They're actually like made locally. Some there's, I don't know if it's Velo Rack, but one of them is made locally, and they're designed to hold like 5 or 6 40-pound bikes vertically.
Yeah,
so they're pretty nuts.
Okay. That's what it looks like. Yeah. Holy.
All right, we didn't come here to talk about bike racks.
Well, maybe we did.
It's a bike rack episode. It's Halloween. Gerard, I gotta know how many houses in your neighborhood give out full-size chocolate bars?
I don't know, but ours did.
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Nice.
Gerard, I bet you give out full-size chocolate.
Well, I mean, it wasn't me, it was Rita. Rita's like, oh, I got some goodies. I'm like, okay. She's like got like full Aero bars. I'm like,
all right, so you give out full chocolate bars. That's the type of house Gerard is.
No, I went to the dollar store and bought like not cheapest, but like the basic stuff.
Oh, Gerard's remembering his Manitoba roots. All right, great.
But honestly, we didn't think any kids would trick or treat in my neighborhood because it's not very like Halloweeny at all. But like, to be honest, there were a lot of kids. We didn't trick or treat here in my hood. We went to a different area where we knew some kids that grew up around here that's fairly close to us, and it's like more compressed, similar to my old hood.
Yeah.
And because honestly, like trick or treating in my hood, I was like, man, like there's not a lot of value in it because there's just tons of walking because the houses are so far apart.
Oh, okay.
And then you don't know like if the people are gonna have chocolate, whereas like
and then you got to walk like a 1.5 kilometers up their driveway. To get to the front door.
You got to ring for their butler. Like, man.
Yeah, exactly. You get the gate to open.
Yeah. What a fun time that we're doing an episode on Halloween, and there's nothing Halloween themed. But by the time it airs, I don't think it matters. People won't care anymore.
Yeah.
There might be fireworks going off in the background, though.
Yeah. I was thinking like, oh, that's
tons
actually
of fireworks out here.
So yeah, the tons here too, which is something that I think is like a uniquely almost Canadian thing.
No.
Apparently, right?
It's only a Vancouver thing.
Oh yeah,
maybe BC thing.
Yeah,
I didn't know what it was until I came here. So for anyone listening at home that's not from BC, which I know quite a few.
From like Australia and USA and like all these other places.
But I was just prefacing. But it's always funny to me that Vancouverites have, like, they always think that, or like people in the Lower Mainland or BC, I don't know where it ends, fully think that like fireworks on Halloween is a thing. And it's not. Like, it blew my mind when I came here. I was like, why the fuck is this a thing? And then all these like makeshift fireworks stores open up. They've calmed down in the last few years because I think they caught up with the rest of the world and realized it's not actually a thing. But
no, because
man, is it wild.
the city put bans on selling them. Like,
Yeah, we don't have
that was
like entire Spirit Halloween sized places selling fireworks. We used to. It was rad.
but yeah, I don't know. It seems like Halloween's a good night to like go blow shit up and act like an idiot, you know?
Yeah, we were talking to Alex and Kat and stuff about like when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And Alex was like, I never ever fucked with fireworks. He's like, I never touched them. Like, they were like terrifying because I guess they had at his school one of those, the fire people came in with like the warning, and like they brought a guy who apparently had like his fucking hand blown off from fireworks or something. So he was just like, yeah, nope, like nope. My cat was like, yeah, we used to fuck with fireworks all the time. And then I told my story, and I was like, yeah, man, we'd spend like hundreds of dollars on bricks. That was the thing. You'd buy, well, I'm buying a brick of this and a brick of that, and fireworks and firecrackers. And yeah, I remember getting chased around, like playing. We were playing with the Nicky 9 door, and then you'd light up the firecrackers, so then they'd come to the door and they'd blow up and
go blow it up,
and shit. or like yeah, one time we were at this. We had outside of our school was like this building that had like the roof that almost like you would go in, like it had basically walls that were like 2.5 feet high. So we just sat up there and like lit off tons and tons of fireworks. And then this guy came out and was like, I called the cops on you guys. You guys are, you know, you're gonna get in shit, and I'm not leaving till this night. We're thinking, oh fuck, like we're like basically stuck up here. So he's like walking around for like what seemed like 45 minutes because we're like, we're not gonna jump off the roof because we don't know where he is. Like, he's on this side, he's on that side, like, you know, when you're like going around like a thing. And the cops never came, and then we just waited it out and he left. But like, we were terrified, man. We were like probably 13 years old or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Dude, like, it's hilarious when you like think about those times when you were a kid and you were like so terrified, and then like when you think back on it, you're just like, yes, you know, like it was really nothing. Like,
yeah, but also at the same time, like thinking now as an adult, like to these fireworks, like you know, if someone were to knock at my door and light up fireworks and like wake up the baby and shit, dude, I'd be livid. I can wring that kid's neck. But they don't do that shit anymore. They just like go in the park and light them off and, you know, make a bunch of noise. Luckily.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, like definitely we made this giant paper airplane and attached like a bunch of fireworks to it.
I did the same thing, man. And like 20 bottle rockets.
Yeah.
And then caught some lady's yard on fire.
Yeah, ours did the same thing, but like it landed in this tree, but like luckily like there was no leaves in the tree, and like
it's soaking wet because it's raining.
Yeah, it's soaking wet, exactly. Yeah. So like it just kind of fizzled out and like it burned itself out in the tree. But we were like, oh, like we were so like we ran so, you know.
Well, we were at my buddy's house on like the second floor deck. And we're like, yo, let's make this paper. It was newspaper, first of all.
How old were you when you did this, Gerard?
I must have been probably 14.
Okay. I thought you were going to be like 28.
14, 15? No, man. No, I like, yeah, we. I
mean, the minute you get a car, you're not really doing this.
That's not true. I got the story about the fireworks in my, oh, man.
There's like, I figured Gerard did all this mischievous shit until he got married. Because whenever I think of Gerard,
like 2 years ago,
I haven't done fireworks in a long time. It's just because, like, honestly, jumping jacks, the ones that have the little hole to spin.
Yeah,
you should tape those to windshields, man, with the hole facing the windshield, and it would just like break the whole windshield. Like, what a fucking asshole, right? Like, hey,
yeah,
come
that's
out.
Really bad.
You come out and your car is destroyed from some stupid fucking kid with a firecracker. Like,
yeah, I never did that.
I did that. And
all right, two things.
Yeah.
One, when you're like, we bought bricks, made you sound like you were buying drugs, which I thought was hilarious. And then two, I could actually turn this into like a kind of, Kevin, before we started, was like, you because I don't have a topic, which is either going to be a disaster or a lot of fun. And Kevin asked me about the car meet I went to on Saturday.
Yeah,
Made a little video.
Yeah,
We
video was
all
dope.
went. So
Nice.
I went to
Pretty yes.
car meet. I went to the Printing Yes Halloween Matsuri Halloween car meet. And when it was great. It's always a lot of fun to do that on Halloween because I don't really love Halloween, so that's a fun event for me.
Lame.
I'm always like,
I don't know.
I'm always like super late to Halloween. I always have like some bullshit costume that I pulled together. Like,
I was gonna
last
say,
10
what
minutes.
was the best costume? What was your throughout your entire life? What was the best costume you've ever had?
Dude, like nothing.
It's probably
man.
like some techno.
Dude, I
punk.
found
was
those.
just like,
I found those Scotch goggles that I was telling you about. Those like lensless ones or whatever.
Oh, crazy.
The racquetball ones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I found them in my like giant bag of costumes.
The best costume I ever had. It wasn't even a costume, it was a mask. I made a mask. This was like when I had my first shop keep. And I was into like, oh yeah, I'm gonna like do this metalworking shit. So I took like an aluminum sheet and I just hammered it. Like I kept hammering it, like shaping it into this like crazy fucking mask. And it was cool. Then I drilled like slits for like I cut slits for like the eyes, and it was like really weird looking, like almost like it was like Eyes Wide Shut type of like weird, like
that's so
crazy
fucking
mask.
weird.
Like Eyes Wide Shut.
What a weird reference.
No, listen. Like
I
Eyes
don't
Wide
know,
Shut.
but out of
for
all
us.
the references you pull out, like a guy who doesn't like watch, like do a lot of movie references, you're like Eyes Wide Shut. You know,
well, like
that
they're all
weird
dressed
fucking-
like crazy, right? They all have crazy
Yeah.
masks. So it's like Eyes Wide Shut meets like Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of mask, and it was like fucking sick. And then I attached the back of it to like a welding mask like hinge thing, so it could like come up. And I don't know, it was just cool. Like it looked really cool. And then I wear that with like my buddy at the time built computer chips. So they had these like crazy gowns that they had to wear, these anti-static gowns, and they would just throw them out after like one or two uses. So like I had this entire bucket of these weird ass fucking long
Are they like
gowns.
pink, like every other weird anti-static thing is?
No, they were white with like a very light blue like grid pattern on them, and they had like snaps on them. I guess you'd snap like a fucking anti-static
Well, like
strap
blind,
or something.
Yeah,
Anyways,
yeah, grounding strap.
they just look like you were some crazy like doctor fucking in the psych ward type of shit. I'd wear that, and then like these white ass gloves, and they just looked really weird. And yeah, it was that, and I would just walk around because like so at that time Danny and them would go and drink in like the park and shit. Like my younger sort of brother would go and like they would all be drinking in the park or whatever, and I would like I knew they were there. They didn't know I was coming, so I would like park super far and walk from like really far away super slowly, and I scare the living shit out of them because they were like, "What the fuck is that?" I'm like, yeah, that was pretty much the best. Or else I was just, huh?
No, I mean, like I knew that all of your costumes would just be like some like crazy shit that you made up. Like,
yeah, that's the worst part of my costumes because nobody knew what they were, but I always thought they were sick.
Yeah, I'll tell you the worst part about my costumes
What?
after Kevin tells us his best.
Yeah,
costume.
Kevin's probably got good costumes. I bet.
Yeah,
he's got-
I feel like Kevin likes Halloween a little.
I mean,
bit.
even last year he pulled out an 8086.
I mean, that was
Yeah.
that was a good one. Like that one.
And you won an award. You won.
I had that one
thing.
brewing for a while though. You know, like.
Yeah, I never have forethought for Halloween. I'm like, oh, it's Halloween, like
Well, yeah, exactly.
mechanic.
Well, I did that one all on the day of the party. Like,
I know, but still, like you were
Yeah,
thinking about it.
yeah, exactly. I don't know. Like, I have a whole bag full of just weird costumey shit, but it's just because I would just buy like all this weird shit. Then I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll wear it as a costume or something. So like, I feel like I always just throw together something at the last minute. I made a pretty like hilarious like homemade scuba diving costume that was pretty good. When I was a kid, I used to just go as a cowboy all the time. Had a pretty, yeah. But I had like real cowboy shit, so it was pretty dope. I had like a pretty like it wasn't like a
Yeah, it
Like
wasn't
a
like
play-
I bought this at Spirit Halloween cat.
Yeah, it was like a full out. This probably cost
like I have
hundreds
chaps. Yeah.
hundreds
Yeah,
of
yeah.
dollars because these are like real cowboy
He bought a
boots, and they're-
horse. He learned how to ride a horse.
And your belt was like from the tax store, not like
Yeah.
from fucking Walmart, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
It had those like actual metal fucking chunks on it. Yeah.
I'll try to do my bit real quick because I don't think people actually want to hear us talk about Halloween costumes.
People
No,
love
they do.
Halloween, man.
I don't. But my problem is I
One
don't
year I
like
was a
the
slutty
cheatiness.
cowboy.
No,
Just the-
Ryan
just the
went as a
chaps.
nerd or like a
I-
scientist.
I went. No, I didn't. Gerard, I'm
He
a
just went as a
filmmaker.
lumberjack because he has all of the flannels.
Yeah, that's just my everyday attire. No, I always chose references, and as both of you
Pop
know,
culture references.
sometimes my references are a little too deep of a cut for people to understand,
Yeah.
and that is often. So I am,
Or they're 25 years old.
yeah, I'm troubled by the fact of like either. So when I was in like grade 4 or 5, I went as the Punisher, and that was before all the you got misinformed.
Yeah.
But like nobody knew who the Punisher was when I was like, you know, you're in like that age. But
Yeah.
nobody knew. They're like, oh, you're like a ghost because you have a skull on your shirt. And it's like, no, I'm the Punisher. But like, you can't carry toy guns around with you, and that's
Why
weird.
not?
I don't know. One time I went as a musketeer when Disney's The Three Musketeers came out, but I
That
couldn't
was a bit
find a
confusing
hat.
for everybody else.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
couldn't
you-
find a hat, so I just
Or
looked
two
like a
friends.
bishop. Yeah, or two friends. I was a musketeer by myself,
With no
but I
hat.
really liked that.
Did you have
movie.
the sword?
Yes, I had the sword. My
Okay.
mom always made
You're
me
allowed
really
to have
great
the toy
costumes.
sword, but not the toy gun.
I mean, maybe I could have had a toy gun, but I don't know. It doesn't
Anyway,
matter.
yeah.
It was always. I think my best costume was one year I went as Ned Plimpton from The Life Aquatic / I call him Kingsley Zizou, which I don't know if. Yeah, I don't think Kevin may know who that is, but no, he's got to see. And this is the thing. So I'm.
I've
I
heard of
like
the Life
the idea-
Aquatic.
Yeah, it's a Wes Anderson film. It's one of
I
my
was going
favorite
to say,
movies.
is it like Becoming John Malkovich? But obviously not.
No, not. But it's like it's an artsy film. It's not even artsy, but it's like it's in the Criterion Collection. Okay. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're not also a movie podcast. All of
I
my
have one more good costume I have to tell you.
oh, for fuck's sakes! All right, let's hear it.
No.
My story-
I just
my
meant before-
story's like over pretty much. It doesn't matter. I just
No, I want to hear more.
fucking
No.
cut too deep is what I do, and then people don't get it. And I like the idea of having like really like quality stuff. And someone was today, like the other day, was like, "So you would prefer if everybody was just like cosplay?" And I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah, I think I
Yeah.
kind of would if like instead of like people just like had shitty costumes, like everybody had like." But I wanted to be like movie references. Like I don't. No offense, Gerard. I don't want it to be made up bullshit.
Yeah, that's the problem with my costume.
But what if
too.
it's like some crazy shit, but it's just something you've never heard of, Ryan? So like to you, it's
I've
essentially
heard of
essentially made
everything.
up. When Gerard like went on and he was like the main villain in Toto's Mile was this character with the metal mask, you know? And like,
For those that don't know, because I realize some people join the podcast later on and they don't know, Toto's
Yeah.
Mile is a movie that Gerard once made up when he couldn't think of a movie title. Anyway, okay. Gerard, before we talk about cars, because this is the longest fucking intro, what was your other costume?
wants
So
to talk about
I was
cars?
pretty old at this point too, and I don't know what. I guess I just wanted to go trick or treating, like because I was like, oh, it's like I was fully had a car. I was probably 16, 17.
I got one too after this.
Yeah, and then
We're never
I was like,
talking
oh,
about
I want to
cars.
go trick or treating, but I don't have a costume. So what I did, dude, I just dressed up like I guess technically kind of lumber. No, it wasn't really a lumberjack. I got pantyhose,
So me.
a fucking axe, my big ass like army boots, and like a gnarly jacket, and just went around and like knocked on doors. But like I actually had a real axe and pantyhose over my face. So like my neighbors were just like not gonna open the door, and I was like, "Oh no, it's me, like your neighbor Gerard," and they were just like, "Go away," all this shit. And I was
That's
like,
some
"No, no."
avant-garde bullshit right there. All right, Kevin, before we talk about cars, One
Who
last
said we're
swing at the
ever going to talk
costume.
about cars?
I'm
No.
going to talk about cars.
So one year I went as Darth Vader. And it had like a
Oh, sick.
pretty good realistic rubber mask. It was like a 2-part rubber mask.
Damn.
Oh yeah, that's what I want.
But then I had like the kind of cheesy, plasticky, like dollar store chest plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty decent. But Ryan has this thing where he doesn't understand why anyone ever likes the bad guys.
That's right.
So like, I thought it was interesting. Where I just remembered that I was like, oh yeah, it was Darth Vader, like, which Ryan would not approve of.
I'm fine with you
Darth Vader
dressing
would be,
up
like,
as
the
a villain.
sickest. Like if you could do a really big Darth Vader costume. That would be sick.
Yeah. He ends up being a good guy. For those of you at home that don't know, I really love Star Wars. And I was going to say,
good guys versus bad guys.
Yeah,
no,
it transcends every fantasy universe where you're just like,
when you're
why would you ever like the
driving around,
Decepticons or like?
Yeah, they're fucking bad dudes, man. Like, and they're not like in a good way. Also, you're driving around. This is where this comes from, everybody. You're driving around, and somebody's got a fucking like Empire decal on their car, and it's just like another sign for fascism, or like dictatorship. Like, they're not good people. And I asked Kevin why this is a thing, and he's like, I just like their ships. Like, so if Kevin's in the recruitment line for the obviously, Gerard, we've done over 50 episodes.
Cooler tech and like cooler ships, and like
if we're in the Star Wars universe, Kevin's in the recruitment line. He's picking.
Dude, I'm trying to get that 30% APR financing so I can get myself a Hellcat TIE fighter. And go do some sideshows in the Dagobah universe.
So we had this talk, and then this is the thing I was like telling Kevin. What? No, that's that's a space station, Gerard.
Whatever, it's got a cool ass name, man. Death Star. That's pretty dope.
Star Destroyer sound cool, whatever. What? But Kevin was saying all this shit, and then I was like, yeah, I get riled up over this. And he's like, I take a TIE fighter. And then I said the nerdiest thing back to him. I'm like, TIE fighters don't even have warp drive engines unless you have like Darth Vader's TIE fighter. And then it was the weirdest conversation 2 car friends have ever had. Anyway, okay.
One of those ones, the speeders. The speeders are the ones that sound like a Taycan or like
the speeder bike.
Which
Taycans
one?
or all the
speeder bike?
Yeah, they sound like speeders.
Yeah, they're cool. They sound like speeders because they are speeders.
Yeah.
They're dope. Yeah.
Yeah, they're
love them. I love it all. It's the best. Anyway. Point of this, that tangent is the Empire.
Well, let us know in the comments. How do you feel? Do you get down with the bad guys sometimes?
Why do you want to be part of the Empire if they're just fucking fascists and like dictators and they're not good? Watch
we don't think about that stuff. We just see the black
what are you
suits and like the cool ships. We're like, yo, sick.
X-Wings are fucking dope.
It's like a stance car. You're like, oh, I like that. I want to make that. And then nobody tells you that like it's like the biggest pain in the ass. It fucking doesn't actually work. It doesn't drive nice.
What ship in the Empire is like a stance car?
No, just the bad guy cool stuff. Like you just see the face value. It's like, oh, it's a cool ship.
X-Wings are way fucking cooler, man. X-Wings are fucking dope.
Yeah, they're pretty cool.
They got warp drives that carry fucking like droids in the back to fix your shit. As a car guy, you should love that. It just like fucking rolls out and like fixes your shit.
Dude, if I had a droid that it was in the spare tire well of the Altezza, like just constantly fixing the bumper.
Just like hammering the corner up as you're doing the next lap.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're like
reattaching the bumper as it's falling off.
Oh, R2,
you should have like,
but
that
tail light came loose again. See if you can't lock it down,
I wouldn't have an R2 droid. I'd have an S9 droid.
Oh, okay,
so
good.
Sick. Oh, one thing I did want to say though,
it would be slammed.
And he couldn't
go anywhere.
He couldn't fix your car because he couldn't get over like the little rock.
Yeah, but it looks fucking sick.
Yeah, all cambered out. No, I was gonna say. Okay, so last thing about Halloween, I was gonna say like as car people and like fabricating people and CAD people and 3D printing people and like we literally have so much access to like cool shit to make really cool costumes and never once, but like the coolest thing I ever made with my like skills was Dominic's full LED like light up costume. But like I was like, man, I could like totally always just make the sickest shit. but like I
fully feel
never do.
that's like pretty common once you become a father or a parent. That becomes your outlet for those things. It's like when you build that trike and stuff, like
Yeah.
it's you're spending all your time to like make this cool thing that your kid can have to make him cooler than all the other kids. And thus that reflects that you're a cool guy.
When June didn't have like as much of a say in what she wanted to be for Halloween, or was like easier to convince of things, she's like, I want to be Rey from Star Wars. I was like, yeah, I'll buy you the expensive Rey costume and a lightsaber and like all this shit.
Nine.
Yeah, the whole nine. It's like, now you're fucking stunting on everybody. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay. It does matter a little bit. So long way around, I went to a car meet on Saturday at Printing Yes. And
what costume were you wearing?
Sad dad is what I went at.
Sad as in like
seasonal depression,
emotional sad, or
like I just listen to the National, the indie rock band, and think about overanalyze Empire. No, people are going to be worried about me now. Like, oh, is he actually sad? Yeah, all the time. No, not that.
Should reach out
to Ryan and let him know. Let him know what's up.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw the post. I was in the middle of a bit of controversy.
What happened?
Victim of a hate crime?
I was a little, actually. Not actually. No, I shouldn't say that. That's way off out of line. No. All right. Allow me to explain my story. Okay. So Saturday we go to this meet. Zach Dunn, the wonderful Zach Dunn, jokingly asked to drive my car, and I said, yeah, absolutely. You're Zach Dunn. You do cool shit. So Zach Dunn drove my car to this meet, and we looped around the block. There was no place to park, and he's like, maybe we should try parking in the parking lot. And I was like, yeah. And I was all for it because, like, look, there's only so many chances I get to be flossy. And I was like, yeah, let's park in that parking lot. Mike from Printing Yes was really great. Like, we pulled in, he's like, yo, you can literally park right here. So like, this is just like the end of the line. Like, it's not even really a parking spot. And he's like, yeah, no, it's cool. Like, someone else was parked here before. Like, park here, get out, have great times. Now, obviously, car guys love burnouts. Kevin can attest to this. If you've not been following Kevin on Instagram, Kevin just burnouts for days.
Been a while.
Yeah. And so people started doing burnouts, which is like fine. Like people were pretty cool about it. Obviously, our boy from City Tech, DK, burnout specialist, did a burnout when he was leaving, like smoked the whole place out. Like it was wild. And, Marcus with the FRS, I guess, yeah, it's an FRS still, did a burnout. So people were doing burnouts. Everyone was getting fired up. Now, here's where it gets a bit tricky.
Okay.
So I'm talking with the boys. I'm kind of tired of watching burnouts because I don't know. I'm whatever. It's fine.
Sad dad.
Yeah, sad dad. No, I think at some point you want to see a cool car do a burnout, not just any car do a burnout.
Oh, damn. Shots fired.
Yeah, take that, Marcus.
No, DK. I put in the video. I'm saying, like, I watched DK do a burnout, but then eventually it degrades. You go down and so there's like a younger guy in a BMW backing his car in, and he's got his phone. He's on his phone. I think he's telling the boys, like, I'm gonna speculate what he was talking about because I don't know, but like he's on the phone, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna show him. I later find out that I think he might kind of be a takeover person, of takeover.
We have takeovers here?
I don't know. Apparently, people have said.
There was that one.
He backs in.
Okay.
Yeah, he backs in. Now, here's the thing. He backs in because he's got to get into a puddle, right? He needs his car to be in a puddle to do a burnout.
Yeah.
Everyone else has probably used up the puddles. They're gone. Like everything's evaporated. It's out of there. So he's probably, as far as I didn't even watch, people said he was about 3 feet from my car and just like did a cooker, sprayed my car with shit. Like Mike actually came out and shut it down. Like, I didn't see any of this. Like, they were just like,
Oh,
he's
shut
like,
down
no.
dude's burnout.
Yeah, he was like, yo, you're like way too close to this like other car. And shuts it down, kicks the guy out. He's like, you gotta go, right? Like, it's not even like, I'm gonna say this, it's gonna sound petty because especially what I say after, but like, it's not a cool car doing it. It was just like somebody wanting, they're like, I'm gonna do a burnout, everyone's gonna be impressed. It wasn't cool to see that car really do it. Like, as it was driving in, some of our other friends were maybe saying some things about it, but whatever. So maybe it's karma for me for not sticking up for a younger generation. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, my car's covered in shit. People are like legit concerned about my car when I walk up. I'm like, yo, what's up? They're like, yeah, you're like, I don't know if he was like tossing rocks at you, like kicking up rocks at your car or like whatever. He was way too close. It's not even like a fine like dust. It's like I can like peel flakes of tire off my car now, right?
Man, I'd be so choked if it was my car.
And
rocks.
He was
100%. There would have been rocks.
Yeah, that's the thing. So there's 1,000% rocks.
So our buddy CM Media, C.Media.
I saw his post. He looked like
he made a post, a PSA. But here's the thing that's very like, he was like, don't do this. And I don't know, the person, they figure, or their friends made fake Instagram accounts because you go in and they don't have any followers when you check their profiles, and we're commenting on it. And I will read the comment.
Oh man, I want to read this, man.
Huh?
Yeah, I want to read. I want to hear this. This is some shit. I didn't know it was like this.
This is it.
All right.
People were like reaching out to me and they're like, "Are you good?" I'm like, yeah, okay. And I should say it's cm.edia, which is a fun name.
Yeah, we're gonna go beat up that guy or what?
Yeah, we gonna go find him.
Your family.
So one person said, "Why would you park behind the burnout box?" It wasn't a burnout box; it was a car meet, and he backed up way too far. And other people were like, "You wouldn't expect someone backing up like on the ass of a car to do a burnout." But the one thing. Like, I didn't even make a complaint about this. Maybe it's not even there anymore. Oh, that's unfortunate.
They took the comment out?
Maybe they did.
You gotta screen cap these things, bro.
Yeah, always.
It's fine. I can paraphrase. It was essentially
you don't have the receipts, though.
Yeah, I don't have the receipts. Sorry. It was anybody knows, and this is where like it kind of comes in where it's like, is it a takeover kid? Because it's like, if you're gonna get in the pit, expect like you're like one of the monkeys in the pit that like gets too close and gets taken out, and that's like the like the takeover shit. Like,
sounds
why would
takeover-y.
why would you be in the spot where things are happening? Like, you don't get to be the victim when you're in the spot where things are happening.
Wasn't your car already there?
Yeah, my car was already there. Like, and people weren't doing burnouts at that spot. He did the burnout at that spot, but I digress. The part that was really bad, it was like, now go clean up that POS. And I was like, whoa. I can excuse everything else to a degree. Like, you're young, you're a silly boy, but like, hey, buddy, you don't get to talk about my car like that. I can talk about my car like that, not you. But it was like,
so what was it, a 325 or some shit? Like, was it even like a respectable BMW?
I don't know. What was it? Here, let me find it. E90?
Okay, E90 what though? Unless it was a V8 M3, it's just like another E90, like whoopty fucking do.
Yeah, it wasn't anything like dope. It wasn't anything cool. Now, here's the thought. That's a very long roundabout way that someone should talk to my car. And I was almost like, I guess he deleted his comments, but it's a funny thing because we've witnessed this. And I was saying it on the way there to other people. And while it was happening, I was like, for all that car people shit on takeover culture, it's a very fine line between what actually happens in takeover. Like, we were at Western and we watched that happen. They were like, hey, everybody, you can do a burnout wherever you want. And then it
But I mean, that's not a normal occurrence. People don't do that all the time.
No, I agreed. And then it's not an all the time thing. We go to these car meets, and if they're on like private property, people do burnouts and everyone's okay with it. It feels like, and people get amped on it, and then it riles other people up, and then they do more burnouts. And Gerard, as a burnout addict, I get where people are coming from.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I do wonder, what is the line between a takeover kid and just us wanting to watch burnouts?
I mean, well, the takeover kid would be like,
did it wrong
on public roads or like, you know what I mean? Like, basically no respect for like the public or this, you know, like, I want to do a burnout when I want to do burnout, where I want to do burnout. That's the attitude versus, oh, hey, like, oh, we're doing burnouts at like this place, like on this property. Is it cool to do a burnout here? Sure. Okay. Yeah. Let's do some burnouts like that. That's a bit different. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like today, for example, I was like, went to Paulo's, got my car like retuned and stuff. And like, you know, runs a bit different, whatever. And I was like, man, I haven't done a burnout in a really long time. I got like basically new tires. I just want to film my car doing a burnout. And then it's of course like, you know, the like responsible side of me was like, okay, like, hey man, like, is there a place around here that you guys do burnouts? He's like, yeah, across the street. And he's like, yeah, but everyone's there right now and stuff. And like, it was literally like, you know, 1 p.m. type of shit. And I'm just like, well, it's probably not like the best time to do like a giant fucking cooker. The best place probably would have been on the street, but like, there's just like tons of cops everywhere. And like, yeah, I don't know. It's a bit different too. Like I had to be at, you know, school at 3:00 to pick up Dominic, and like getting pulled in by the cops would probably just be like a big fucking hassle. You know what I mean? Like, I agree. Gotta call the school and be like, yeah, I can't make it because I'm like detained right now for being a fucking idiot. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
again, I should preface this.
So can I interject something here?
Yes.
So the guy who was like, hey, well, why would you park in the burnout box? The like tagline on his Instagram account is, "We own the street's biggest private race events in BC." It's like, what? Like what?
Maybe he's that rich kid that owns all the tracks or whatever.
No.
Like
not owns, but like.
No, Gerard. He owns the streets.
No. Yeah. And it's not the same person. Like, yeah.
So is that what it means? They own the streets. That's the biggest racetrack is the street.
Yeah, the takeover. Like the lingo that was being used when conversating about this was takeover lingo. It was like the pit, the blah blah blah. Like, why would you be there? Like the pit in our lingo, even from that point of view, is like you don't do shit in the pit because that's where people are working on the car. But for them, it's like, I guess the mosh pit.
The mosh pit, yeah.
Now, I get it, because here's the thing. People also, before I keep talking about this, I've had some beers. I don't like takeover culture. It's not for me. I think there's an interesting correlation in the same way that when we talk about drifting, I once heard the quote that somebody said, it's like every drift like thing in competition is the best 30 seconds of any race you've ever seen all the time. And then it's like, maybe in their mind, takeovers are the best fucking however, whatever, you know, like 20 seconds of every car meet.
Every drift
car meet. Or no, every car meet. It's just like, what's your favorite part of the car meet? Oh, all these dudes did fucking burnouts. Like you go, and when someone does a burnout, everyone pulls out their phone and they do it, and they film it. They make videos, they put it in their videos. They take
this. This is the one thing that I'll say, like, where, like, I don't know, we always had this mentality, and I kind of feel like it extends back to the people before us as well. It's like we weren't out there drifting downtown Vancouver. You're like going to the industrial areas in the middle of the night. You're trying to be away from people. You're trying to be respectful, you know. And the people before us, same thing. It's like, all right, we're gonna go street race in this industrial area or in this like down this farm road or whatever it is, but there's still those stupid idiot people who are going to race stoplight to stoplight in the city or drift in a super obvious spot. And like, to me, those people kind of like those people are just straight up idiots, sort of, you know?
I agree. And then it's like, and I struggled with that because look, if you haven't noticed, the dude made fun of my car and I was a little bit like, yo, man, your car is kind of bunk. You don't get to say that. But then I was like, is there like a nicer way? Like, do you take over kids, keep being takeover people because like there is no olive branch extended to us. But then on the other side of that is like you give them an olive branch and they come in and then they do a burnout all over your car and then think it's your fault for getting in, like for them parking 3 feet away from you.
It's the whole okay. So the takeover thing, it's like it's kind of weird because like I get the excitement, I get the like adrenaline, I get the sort of like it's to me it seems like takeovers or takeover actions are like the TikTok or like the Instagram of like drifting in car meets. Because like before there was like forums and like, you know, whatever. And that's when like people would like talk about their builds and they would like, you know, show a video or like do this shit. But then on now with like TikTok and like Instagram, it's like you just want to show the shit in like 2 seconds. It's like some of these clips are 5 seconds long. The maximum now is like 90 seconds. And like a 90-second reel is like nobody's fucking watching that because it's bullshit. You know what I mean? So now all you get is like the excerpt from the drifting, which is the donut or the smoking tire or the show, and you just repeat it. So now it's just like dudes doing the most in the shortest amount of time. You know what I mean? Like as a drift event, it's like, okay, you hurry up and wait. You know, you got your fucking run group, you got your fucking pits, you got your like warm up, you got your drivers meeting. And truthfully, nobody fucking gives a shit about that. They just want to go drifting, right? So like you take all of that away and you just have the drifting, and then you get a whole bunch of people doing the drifting, and then you add a bunch of fucking idiots watching the drifting, and it's literally just like everything at once.
Mm-hmm.
And like it could be cool, but like obviously the whole bad part about that is like it's dangerous. It's, you know, like you have zero respect for, I guess, what you're around. Maybe if you're doing an industrial, like maybe it's like kind of fucking better. Or
I saw
or
one
something.
the other day where it looked like they were on like an abandoned airstrip or something. It looked so wide and so long,
Yeah,
in the middle of nowhere.
and it's like,
all right, well,
know if
like
that's that bad.
You know,
like,
that it's the same thing. Like exactly, it's like that. I don't know if it's that bad when you're taking over the highway or like a bridge or
yeah. And it would think the craziest thing, I mean, I have no idea what these guys do and how they get the money, whatever, but it's like they smash up their cars seemingly quite often. And like these
I think
cars,
maybe that's just what we see is like we
right,
see
whatever,
the fails.
but like these aren't fucking old cars. These aren't cheap cars. Like a lot of them are fairly new. These kids, these people,
it might not be their car though.
pretty young. No, that's what I
You
mean.
could go steal a car,
Steal, borrow, whatever the fuck it is, but they have this car that isn't cheap and they're doing this shit with it and they're getting into, you know, accidents and stuff. And it's like they really just have zero like care. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's just no care.
I believe that's a trademarked term by Hoonigans. So I don't know if you can
just ain't care.
Yeah, I mean, you could say the same thing about drifters too, and like
no,
like,
they can't though, like because
you have a nice car and it's your
but you spent time to fucking build that car, man. Like there's I have not seen a takeover car that was like sick. It's like a sick stock car, but it's like it's not a fucking like dudes aren't building like 700 horsepower or 500 horsepower, even 400 horsepower.
You don't need one.
I think that like when you're doing that, you're into sport, not takeovers.
But that's what I mean. So it's different, right?
But okay, again, I can't stress this enough. I don't like takeovers, but I do.
Yeah, neither do I. I mean,
none of us do.
I don't think Gerard does
I
either,
will say that. Yeah, I'm going to keep saying that so people don't get the wrong message. And I brought this up when Zach was driving my car, which fucking, I learned my lesson real quick because I'm like, person fucking came and now I got to go get my car detailed again. You know, like, oh, that's great. Anyway,
you should make me pay for it.
Well, this guy's gone. Like, people have been, and here's the thing: people in the car community have been very nice. They've reached out and said, like, yeah, we can get you a deal on that. We can do this. We can do all these things, and that's great. I'm not trying to think about it. When I start to worry about it, is like I'll probably go look at it in like a few weeks and be like, oh shit, like he did chip the paint, and that's really shitty.
I mean, that seems pretty stupid. You're gonna like wait 3 weeks, go look at it, realize
Gerard,
that
I'm
it
a
is
dummy.
fucked up,
I kind of like looked at it when
and then pay for it yourself. Like,
I don't know, but yeah, it is pretty stupid. I'm pretty stupid.
Just go do a burnout.
But what am I gonna do now? Like, that kid's
do
not
a burnout in front of
for
his car, bro.
I mean, that kid.
I don't know where he is.
Eye for an eye.
Yeah, exactly. What was I gonna say?
Ooh,
Fuck.
is
Oh,
this
I
one
was
of
gonna
yours?
say, is that people, when we got into drifting, all the regular car folk looked at drifting. It kind of looked down on drifting as well, right? And so, like, it was like, why would you do that to your car? Why would you put your car at risk? You have this nice car. You're gonna bang it up. You're gonna do all these things.
Well, that's just it too. It's like the difference between like super sick street drifting and like super shitty takeover streeting to the average person. There's essentially no difference.
Yeah, and that's
No, I
why
know.
that's why
We
people
know it.
hate it so much, is because they're like, oh, you're giving drifting a bad name. But I will say, like, for example, like Adam LZ had this, you know, he said some shit.
Yeah, that like takeover reach out meet where like he like told them all to come.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
And like he's like, yeah, don't be mean, or don't like hate on those guys, because like they'll just not want to come to drift events ever.
Yeah.
If everyone's like pissed at them. I mean, it's like, you know, everyone starts from somewhere. You know, maybe some of them want to be stupid, maybe some of them don't. But like,
maybe some of them don't know any better, which is like the next point. Is like, out of all the things that I could have said, because I was a little bit like, I just said like, hey, like, kind of like, they were like, why did you park there? And then, or like, that person said like, why was your car in the way of my burnout when it was already there? And I just responded like, I think the car was there because the event organizer said to park the car there. And I think that the burnouts were happening further down the line. And that's probably why the event organizer shut down this person's burnout. Like, and then I just kind of ended it with, it seems to me as if the person driving this car is new to the car scene and got their signals crossed, or didn't understand what was like actually going on, which feels diplomatic-ish enough, as like, you know, I could be way more mad about it, and maybe I will be. I probably will be in a few weeks. But yeah, I do agree. It's like, I think Adam LZ is probably right with that. Like, the outreach is like kind of education and acceptance, because shaming, I don't know if shaming takeover kids like isn't going to take over people, isn't going to fix anything. I'm going to leave in all the time I say kids and then correct myself to say people. Shaming them probably isn't bringing them into the fold. It probably just makes them feel more badass, because it's like, it's rebellion, right? Like, it is
locally hated, bro.
Locally hated. Like, they don't get me. I'm
a badass. I'm a rebel.
Drifters were always on the outskirts of like automotive, like motorsport, and now there's this new breed, which is like, as Gerard, to paraphrase what you said, is like very much narrowed down into a very specific, like 10 seconds all out, like adrenaline, like fucking spectacle, which is like drifting was 2 minutes or a minute, you know, whatever of spectacle. Now it's like, here's 10 seconds of spectacle. You get 10 seconds of spectacle. Like, yeah, I don't see how you bring that. Like, they're mirroring a little bit of the path that drifters went. And obviously it's not the same. It can't be the same. But like, how do you win them over and then bring them into like being educated, like taught maybe more about etiquette and tact. But like Kevin, you said you found that thing and it was like, we own the streets. And it's like, do you own the streets? But like, how do you, I don't know. Like, is there a move? Is there a play? Or is shame the best way? I just feel like shame doesn't play anymore.
I think that like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just an old dude here talking, but I feel that like when you're young, you're going to be like that. And I was like that. Like, Matt, my buddy Matt and I wanted to have like a sticker that had like an outline of a racetrack, and it had like a, like a no smoke, like a no smoking sign through it, because like we're like, yo man, like it's only about the streets, and like, it's just like, yeah, like now it gets to the point where I'm just like, yo, I don't want to drift down the street and like ruin, this other thing where like, so I feel like it's just inexperience, ignorance.
I mean, that's the
people
thing.
think people think ignorance is a bad word, but like, just
But yeah, like your outlook on life when you're young and like young, dumb, and full of cum is vastly different from when you're not young and dumb and full of cum. Like you're literally just like a completely different person, and you see things so differently. And like some people can't see through the eyes of a kid anymore once they're older, but like I feel like we can, because we're still attached to that world. You know what I mean? Like, when a kid like rips by or like does a burnout or does some shit, like I get it. Like I was that kid. I like doing burnouts too. And like, I like ripping too. Like, you know what I mean? But like, there are things that are bad. And like, we all do things that are bad. You know what I mean? And like, maybe we shouldn't do them because there are actual reasons for not doing these bad things. You know what I mean? So.
No, I think that's a fair point.
Like definitely, like, sorry, one last thing. Like, regardless if he's a takeover kid or a drifter kid or a stance kid or any kid, like, you should have respect for the fucking vehicle that you're doing a burnout by, and not fucking spray that shit. Like, I'm surprised that dude didn't get beat up. You know what I mean? Like,
well, it would have had to be me that beat him up, and I'm not going to drag a kid out of his car and be like,
I mean, I don't know if it was full takeover style, then everyone,
if it was a takeover,
and windows.
But see, that's the thing is, okay, that's another sort of aspect I wanted to kind of touch on, is because, like, if that was a takeover, he wouldn't, man, because like it's like no holds barred. I mean, I don't know, I've never been there, I don't know the takeover mentality, but it does seem like if your car gets hit, like, fucking sorry, like. You know what I mean? But like, also at the same,
either way, like,
exactly. Also at the same time, if you hit the car, those guys like that guy more. They'll be like, "Yo, fuck you! You smashed up his car," and then like beat the shit out of that kid or whatever. Like,
I think they just beat the shit out of both cars. It's like any excuse to beat up a car.
Yeah. I would have dragged him out of his car.
Like, the car's already
overanalyzed conversation about what he likes about like, car culture.
Fuck you, old guy. You're boring. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'd be like, you're coming on a fucking podcast. Now you're going to explain yourself.
Dude, that'd be the best. That'd be the best.
It is to the scene in Casino. I don't even know. Whatever. Both of you have seen Casino or not seen Casino?
Which one?
Yeah. Multiple times.
Casino? Yeah. The scene where like Joe Pesci's character loses it on someone and just like stomps the shit out of. Yeah. And then De Niro's character is like, I was just sitting there like wondering like why he did that in the first place. And that's me. Like, what? Look, you did some shit to my car and then you talked shit about it on the internet. But like, why? Like, I didn't say shit to him. I didn't make the post. And then the guy's shitting on my car. And it's what the fuck, man? Just be like, sorry, I'll do better next time.
Yeah, that's you're asking a 19-year-old kid.
I know,
who's all hopped up on fucking PCP and Halloween candy. But to like say to you, I'm going to do better next time. Like,
but see that
I know, but nobody's going to say they're going to do better next time, and I get that, and I don't even care,
especially in the moment.
Yeah, just like, what are you doing? Like
the whole thing. Like, okay, so I feel like part of it too is like A, it was Mike Jake's event, and B, it was Mike Jakes who like said some shit, because Mike Jakes is just like a super nice guy. Like, I don't think that it would have went the same if it was me or Kevin, like talking to the guy doing a burnout in our, like, say we had a block party and that happened at our block party, it would have went quite a bit differently, I think. Like,
Even if it wasn't Ryan's
What do you
car.
think?
Like, dude would have got fucking yelled at and like pwned or whatever you want to call it. Like Kevin's, like, it would have been like, hey man, I think you should leave. We'd have been like, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? Like you're an idiot. Your car's stock. You have no respect for like whatever the fuck you know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be so close to the car. Like, we don't really give a shit about your car here. Like why are you doing a burnout? Like, I don't know. It just would have been like probably a bit more like that way, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, if you would have fucked up your car, there would have been, like some repercussions. Like if there were rock chips or like a smashed headlight or something like that, you know, like nobody's leaving without being held accountable for doing that stupid ass shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, like, people were like looking at my car and they're like, I think it's okay. And I was like, it seems all right.
Yeah, I mean, if it's okay, right? Like,
but yeah, it was a weird, it's funny because it's like I toe that line of like trying to be like have empathy for like the takeover scene where it's like, yeah, you're into this thing and you're the rebel's edge. You're on the edge, you know, like nobody else tame you. And then like trying to like reel them in a bit. And then like to have that happen when you're being like, oh, you know, like it's fucking dumb, but maybe some of them will stick around and make the car scene a better place. And then you're like, fuck me for having.
I mean, that's always the whole thing too, is you don't really know his side, right? Like maybe after he was like, oh shit, man, like I feel really bad, or like maybe like, oh, like I can't believe like they just like sort of let me go, this and that, like.
But then not when you double down on being an idiot on Instagram.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't know if it was his friends or his. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like, who knows?
Yeah. That's like, it reminds me of the time when like my previous shop was like basically getting fucking cleaned out. So I was like, I went to go get my mountain bike or my BMX one night at 3 a.m. I was coming home from like going out 3 a.m. Stopped by the shop, grabbed my BMX. And I look and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's like people in there. And then, so anyways, these dudes were like basically like cleaning out my parking lot / shop. And then, you know, I called 911, this and that. And I like had an altercation with one of the guys. Long story short, one of the dudes got caught by a police dog. And then, so, you know, we ended up getting all the stuff back. It was all fucked up. They didn't like pay her to fix any of their cars or anything. And like what we got was basically a letter from that guy. And he's like, oh, you know, I'm like, so sorry, this and that, fucking blah, blah, blah. And then it just felt like such a slap in the face. It's like, I went through all the right fucking channels. I did all this shit. And this kid, all he had to do was like write this kind of like bullshit letter.
Be like, oh, I felt bad.
Yeah. Like, but like, I mean, the cops or whatever made him write an apology letter, or somebody made him write an apology letter and how he's going to change his ways and shit. And I'm thinking in my head, like this is what I get. Like, I got to pay thousands of dollars to like fix these fucking cars. And like, you know, like the Type R seats had like fucking rips in them and shit. And like, I got to fix all this stuff and I get an apology letter. It's like, fuck this kid. Like, I would have just, if I would have known this, I would have just like beat the shit out of him or like held him there. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, or whatever. I don't, you know, whatever it may be. But yeah, it just seems like this kid just kind of got away. And like, now he's like shit talking you on the internet. And like, I don't know. It just seems like that, you know?
I mean, I guess it's, that is, and I say it all the time, catchphrase, that it is part of the culture though, is like, I think in like, the testosterone fueled culture, like that dude can't see himself as wrong. He, you know, like,
yeah, exactly.
Of course,
I mean, at that age, like,
yeah. Oh, I'm not wrong. And then if you looked at my Instagram profile, you'd be like, this dude posts pictures of his car and his daughter. Like, fuck him. I'm hard as hell, you know. Like,
yeah,
I'm out in these streets. This guy's fucking into pheno, you know. Like, what's he know about car? You know, like. Fuck that thing. Like he doesn't know anything about an aristo. He doesn't know that, you know, like, I
mean, I guess,
I don't know. Look, I assume, I mean, I guess again, as we've learned, I love to overanalyze things, but if you're like, oh, fuck that POS, it's like, buddy, the engine in the car is probably worth more than your car. Like, what are you doing? You know, like he's not going to respond to that. Doesn't matter.
It's not a BMW, man. Nobody cares about that shit.
Yeah.
Speaking of BMWs.
Yes, Gerard.
So I worked on my BMW a little bit the other day, and it's the first BMW I've ever touched. It's the first BMW I've ever like turned a wrench on. And I gotta say, man, it's like kind of fucking sick, actually. Like it's weird because like actually that's not true. I have worked on a BMW before. I mean, I guess I worked technically on Dylan's as well. But there was the one time before when I had to change the lower control arm and then the stupid bolt.
You have to take the diff out.
Yeah, you take the diff out, and I thought
we worked on that E90 though, and it had those like single shear, like aluminum hardware.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's technically working on it too. We sort of put coilovers or something. What did we do?
We made arms for that car.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, I got into like the engine and like took the covers off and like doing all this like actual shit. Whereas like I feel like suspension is sort of like fairly universal to most cars.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it's like kind of sick. Like the fucking rad hoses come off with like a clip and like an O-ring, and like all the fucking connectors come off super easy because they're Bosch, and they just like press a button and it comes off, and like the wiring harness seems like fairly well organized and it just sort of clips off and gets out of the way. Like there's a lot of really cool shit on that car, man, like working on it. And it's quite easy to work on. Like, yeah, it's and everything's like it's like really weird because it is very different than like Japanese cars as far as like how they do shit. But you're like, oh, that's like kind of fucking sick. Like some of it's kind of sick. Anyways, do
you think you'll like that car?
I mean, I fucking really like that car so far. Like, I don't think there's anything comparable to it in a Japanese car. Like, you just can't get a car like that, which is like kind of fucking cool. Like, it has dual zone climate controls, but it's a small hatchback and it's rear wheel drive. Like, that's like pretty crazy, man. The seats are super nice, like, and they're like the peasant seats.
Well, that's cool.
It just has like I don't know what equivalent like car like that I would buy that's like a 5-door hatchback, like fairly good on fuel, but still not like a full bullshit car. Like all the Japanese cars, because they're for Japanese market, are like they're like super peasant cars. You know what I mean? Like the seats are cardboard and like they don't have any adjustment and they don't fit a fucking 6'2" guy. And like, the dashboard looks like Duplo, they're like that. Whereas like, I guess a car for the European market, even though it's like a quote unquote economy car. I mean, let's get it straight. That 1 Series hatchback was never an economy car. It was always expensive. But like the lowest level car is still like made for normal ass people to spend lots of time in and like be a nice car. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just kind of cool.
Well, that's good. Now you're just going to be fully on board for German cars. Hey, It won you over after all these years. Heard it here first. Gerard's done with Toyotas.
That's not true at all.
Yeah. No more Toyotas.
Fuck that shit. Toyotas are done. Hey, Kevin, did someone write you a question?
Yes, someone did write me a question.
Ooh,
it's a question I believe we've already answered, though.
Well, let's try it.
That's okay.
People tend to forget. I answered a question this week, and it was actually like really great because it was, what is the Chaser episode that you guys always talk about? So
yeah, we don't even know what it is.
What do you mean? The Chaser episode? I don't even know what you're talking about. It's the one where
Gerard's super mad about cars not being cool.
Oh, yeah.
And I went and listen, I ate my own dog food on it, and I went and found the episode for the person who reached out.
Yeah.
And I listened to it, and I was like, oh, this is actually kind of funny. I don't know. It's just like I was talking about Fast and the Furious, like the latest movie.
Yeah.
And Gerard compares himself to a spy because he's able to build car parts. It's a whole fucking thing. It's like, Gerard, if you could go back and listen to yourself for like the 100 hours that we've done of a podcast, you'd be like, yo, fuck, I said that.
It feels funny too, because it feels like you could literally like edit like a whole thing where like it's like Gerard says this, and then you like play a clip right after it, and Gerard says the exact opposite. You just like keep doing
episode.
that. Like,
he's talking about like how great Honda guys are at car culture. And then we have a whole other episode about like how Gerard's not going to be part of Honda car culture because he doesn't want to drive all these cars he drive before he drove a Type R that were like North American car. Anyway, it was hilarious. Anyway, loved it. I found the episode. I listened to it. I was like, oh, okay. At the risk of sounding arrogant, when I listened to it, I was like, oh, this is why people listen to us. Because we say shitty things to each other sometimes.
So this question is from Instagram, Justice Trustum.
Justice Trustum, okay.
That's apparently like, I think his name is actually Justice.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool name, by the way.
He lives on the island, and he has that manual 1G right-hand drive JZX 81, or I guess it's not.
Maybe a GX 81.
GX 81 Mark II.
Okay.
Yeah. So he said, "Hey man, got a question for the podcast. What are your guys' thoughts on Kaido racers, old Toyotas, and such on small wheels?" So I know we have talked about it before, but this question was also brought up to me at the latest 2-day drift event at Mission by someone who was at the event that Ryan was at. They also were asking me about small wheels, but I think we already answered their actual question on the podcast. So
that's fine.
It's just funny.
When y'all gonna run small wheels? And then the answer is never.
The answer was pretty much a resounding never.
I mean, I
George,
mean,
you're not running. No,
it's all
have
relative.
it on record. Okay,
I know that, but I mean,
that's the thing. It is all relative because this
relative.
guy at the thing, I was like, oh, I had 17s on this car, 2 years ago, blah blah blah, and then he was like, oh, those aren't small, and then someone else is like, oh, blah blah blah, like blah 15s, and he's like, oh, 15s aren't small either. It's like only 14s and below, and it's just like, all right,
exactly.
Well then like,
to be fair,
to me, small wheels are relative,
that said 15,
right?
I believe it was Vickers, yes,
because. Yeah, I don't know, man. For me, small wheels would be 16s. Like I would put 16s on an X7. I think that's cool because it's like a kind of cool balance. I always liked when the wheels are like a little bit bigger than they kind of should be. So it's like my small wheels would be 16s. Like I had 17s on an X7 before. I think it looks pretty good, but like it definitely looks like a big wheel, quote unquote. And I mean 18s on a X7 definitely look big, but like that's also like a look, it's like kind of sick. But like if I were to do small wheels, quote unquote small, I would do 16s. And the small wheel guys wouldn't think that that's small, but I guarantee they would think it looks sick. Because the problem with small wheels is you got these fucking balloon ass big fucking tires and they look kind of stupid. That's my thing. So like I think a 16 would be good because you can have like kind of a low pro tire and kind of a small wheel. And it's like a balanced look. So, yeah. And I mean, realistically, 18s, for example, 18s on like a 20, a UCF 20, or 18s on like an 18 Crown or a 20 Crown are small wheels. Like 18s on a fucking G35 are small because the stock tires on those motherfuckers is like 245 48 19. So when we put 225 40s on a G35, that's way smaller than stock. So technically that is small. And I guess
it's all relative.
17s would be small on a G, right? And I mean 16s would be like fucked up small.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's establish though. Let's pretend like small is objective. And it's like 15 and less is small.
When you can't even like put them on our cars. It's not a lot of
I agree.
There's not a lot of 5-bolt 15s.
Yeah.
And then they don't even clear the brakes on the front of the car.
So I guess technically small wheels on our cars would be 16s.
Yeah.
What would I even put on mine? I run 19s, like an 18s look dumb on my
No, see, yeah, I guess that's just it. 18s on a 161 are small.
Yeah.
Like I ran
I think-
small S tires, like
I think
225,
20s
40.
are too much, but
Yeah, 20s are too big for sure. I mean,
19 is a sweet spot if you have aero. Anyway, I think
I feel
my
like
answer.
I feel like Gerard's car could have done 20s though. You know what I mean? Like
the problem,
like exactly the same height it is, just radius it another another inch.
Yeah,
And
another
like on 20.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, the thing is, for me, it's like this like specific formula of like the tire size I want to run negates the wheel width I have to have, which is the amount of stretch that I need to run the car at a certain height and still be able to turn, and like all this shit. So like I don't just get a wheel that I like and like put it on and be like, okay, it's good, because then it's gonna like kind of look fucked up or not work properly. So that's like 19s need like a fairly low profile tire, which you can't run the car as low without rubbing, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it's like a bunch of shit. So for me, but like for looks, I would run 19s. It's just on a drift car. Can't really run 19s on the front. It just doesn't work very well. So
yeah. My answer is a simple one, and it blends into both. And it's like, if I was building a Kaido Racer, I would run small wheels. Like I wouldn't run big, because that's not style.
That seems very reasonable.
I guess we just glossed over the question about what do we think about Kaido Racers. But anyways, go on.
I was going to say my formula has always been you have to like size up by 1 or 2. Like ideally you size up your wheels by 2 and then make up the adjustments in your suspension and go lower. It's always been like in my mind what you were supposed to do when building a car to the style that I adhere to, I suppose. Yeah, I guess if I was building a Kaido Racer, or exception, I really like JLo's S13 and it's on 15s.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that looks sick. I think his car looks sick. It looks cool. It's perfect the way that it is. Never change. And that, like, in that situation, maybe if I was building an S chassis, I'd like just rip off JLo, maybe, or not. I don't know, but those are the only
thing
times.
with it. The thing with S chassis, it's kind of cool too, though, is because it was like a multi-bolt pattern car. It's like already a vibe when you put it on 4-bolt and then it's on 15s. It's like kind of sick because that's like almost an entirely different car than a 5-bolt 18. It does feel like it's like
a weird, cross-platform, almost suitable vehicle. Like,
yeah,
like we're not putting 4 bolts on fucking JZS 161s or some shit. You know what I mean?
No, that'd be wild. Although there is that LS that runs like smaller wheels here, like the UCF 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
One of the cool things that I do think is really cool about small wheels is when they do have small wheels in 5-bolt, because that wheel is so rare and kind of like obscure. I do think it's cool to have like that wheel, like for example, like a 15x10 -30 like Watanabe or like SSR in 5 on 114. Like that's like a pretty wild ass wheel, and like to put that on is kind of like those Hoshinos, for example, that like those 5, are they Hoshinos or they Works, for those 5-bolt like flush face wheels that Alex has or had. I guess he went back to 4-bolt all around now, but he had those 5s at one point. Those are fucking so sick. And like, I guess for me,
those are super cool.
Yeah.
Like there's those SSR, like Dory mesh wheels.
Yeah. I think I'm in 5-bolt.
Those come in 5-bolt and like a 15. Yeah.
Oh,
pretty sure.
Sick. Yeah. So for me, it's like that wheel is cool enough to warrant me having small wheels on a car. But like when you just have small wheels that are like, 15x8 or 15x9, and they're like kind of cool, but like you think they're cool because they're small, like they're not that fucking cool. Like I almost want to get some like old school like torque thrusts that are like legit, like 15x10 -50 or some shit, like torque thrust Ds that are like actually real, and like try those on like a Cressida or something. And then it's like you got this weird ass like cross, like these are American muscle car wheels, And of course they're 15s because they only came in 15 and like put those on and like see what that looks like. You know what I mean? It like might be cool. I don't think it'd be as cool as like a set of like 3-piece watts or like whatever, but like still be probably cooler than like a. Can you get long champs in 5-bolt? I think you can.
Yeah, but they're all like
no,
they're
like
all
the
like
cool ones. Not I know you can get like
they're
ugly,
van, van style ones.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
I was going to ponder, is there like certain chassis that just maybe lend themselves to that look, or am I just not being imaginative enough? Like I feel like
totally. I think
chassis-
I feel like it's. Well, I was just gonna. Maybe I'm not being imaginative, but like it's like generationally. It's like it feels like the older the car, the more it's gonna lend itself to like look good on small wheels.
The what? Sorry, the older the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like the S15 might be an exception to that. I feel like you could get an S15 and build it to look like an older S chassis on small wheels. It wouldn't be my number one choice, but maybe it could still look good on smaller wheels. Is the S chassis in its entirety just a super like flexible car for different styles? Or am I way off? I'm working on beer 3, so maybe my ideas are real out.
I'm not sure.
I've had more beers than that.
Well, you're a better person than I am.
I mean, I'm drinking the Schadenfreude.
Ooh, Halloween, because it's Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying, Gerard, is like S chassis, I feel like can pull off a myriad of styles.
Yes.
And so like even if you get to the S15, even though it's not like it's the newest generation, it's still like a 99 or whatever.
Yeah.
You can still pull off small. You could probably do a version of that car on small wheels and still have it be cool. And then
you do have to realize that like S chassis are small. Like they are small cars. So like 15s on an S chassis, regardless of what fucking model it is, like what's the difference in size from a 13 to 15? It's like a fucking 3 or 5% difference in size. Whereas like an X7 to like a JZX 100 or, is like it's a fairly sizable difference. Right. So, and I mean, honestly, I'm going to straight up say it. 14s I don't think 14s look great on X7s. I don't like the look. You can't get fucking tires for them that look cool.
Fair.
I think 15 is like the like smallest that I would run.
So this is one thing I was going to say before, and then I like didn't say it because I was like, well, it's not entirely true. But I was going to say like it almost feels that like if you're like, hey, I have this classic car and I'm going to like lower it on these small wheels, all you have to do is like lower it a bit and you're done, because like it doesn't matter because the wheel isn't going to tuck into the fender anyway, so you don't have to like do all this crazy fender work.
Right,
and like
exactly.
But there are the people who are going to do it properly and do all the fender work and get that wheel to fit into that fender. But like,
and then modify the entire underside of the car to make it actually be low.
Exactly. So like, there's levels to this shit, but like, it does feel that like you could just buy any wheels that have a bunch of lip and then lower the car till the point the fender just doesn't hit the tire that sticks out 4 inches. And you're like, hey, I'm a
small wheel boy,
small wheel Kaido boy. Yeah. But if you were to like, oh, I'm going to lower my car and tuck this 18-inch wheel into the fender, it's like,
and make it actually drive.
Now it has to turn and not rub and like all this stuff. But then, yeah, exactly. Like, Gerard said, if you're going to take it to the nth degree where it's like, all right, well, now my super low small wheel car fully functions, it's just as much work. But it feels like maybe you can get a facsimile or a close substitute with very little work.
Okay. This actually feels like a really good opportunity to just shift back to the first part of the question. I'm proud of myself for thinking of that right now, but
look at you,
Kaido cars. Yeah, look at me actually doing my job. Kaido racers, how do we feel about them?
I feel like we had a whole conversation on this.
Did we actually?
Yeah, you built one.
No.
You built one on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah, but then it wasn't a Kaido racer, and then it continued to send Kevin and myself photos of a car that wasn't actually a Kaido racer. And we didn't. What we actually talked about was me saying, like, what is I will admit that I am wrong. I'm wrong. I was very much on this, like, I think this is what all the young people are going to do. I got a taste of it. And then Gerard, you made some very excellent points, made me look like a dummy.
What did I say?
But, well, I guess you should go listen to that episode. I remember, it's engraved in my brain. Do you guys remember when Elio built his Corolla to be like Kaido?
Ish,
Kaido-ish, yeah. Like, but it was like full, like,
it had shark nose. It had like,
it had those crazy taillights,
skyline taillights.
Yeah. Skyline. Yeah, he did a bunch, and I saw that, and I was like, that's actually like good for him. That was pretty fucking cool. I don't know if anybody else. I mean, I guess Reed and Keith have built pretty cool cars. So if like you're lining up, Keith measures like his car next to like Takeover Boy. Yeah, Keith is hands down all the time. Keith's car is cool on a regular day. I appreciate Kaido racers. I do. That's my take. I usually don't go first, so this is weird for me. I like them, but I don't think I'm going to go out and build one. I would also say that I don't think that there is a ton of people that are building proper Kaido racers. Maybe in SoCal they had that like festival a few weeks ago, and they went to Grange, and there was some cool shit there. There's parts of it that I probably wouldn't do, like putting the tack as your tail light. That's
my favorite part. That's literally my favorite part.
That's your favorite part. Yeah. So there are things that I really like about it. I would have some type of a Kaido racer, maybe not a wild one, but maybe like a tamer one. Yeah, like if it's just like fucking slammed on like cool wheels and has some fender work done, maybe. Is shark nose the right term for it? I just don't want to, like,
probably not if we're in the,
Yeah, like I remember people shared a bunch of like terminology, and it's like that's not this, and it's like, and I can't remember, so I apologize. Maybe some of those things would be okay, but I'd still want to have it be a street car. So like doing like a tail light delete probably isn't going to let me drive it on the street. But there's a lot. Yeah, I think there's a lot of the cool ones. There's like cool old skylines and shit. Like I like it just fine. It is, yeah. How do you guys feel about Kaido Racer?
I have got no problem with it. Like, I think their cars are cool. Like, yeah, it's like, I don't know, cool old Japanese cars. It's not, nothing to not really like.
Yeah, it's not my thing. It's not my thing. I think they're funny. Well, no. I think they're hilarious. Like I do follow that culture a little. Like I have followed that culture, obviously a little bit here and there since being into Japanese cars and stuff. But like, it's not my jam. I wouldn't fucking spend one speck of time building a car to make it look like that. I would take that same car that I think is cool and like make it kind of fucking
SerialNine spec is what you would do.
Yeah. You don't need to do the most and advertise and like just make it so unbelievably like that's what the Kaido Racer.
That's what people say about you driving your stupid white wagon all the time. Like,
but my white wagon is absolutely not like that. You know what I mean?
No, it's fully in your face and advertising and flamboyant.
Here's the thing,
Gerard. Dude, it's not.
You're doing the most. Gerard, it's so loud. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. The thing
it's got a bunch of camber. It's like
no.
That's the thing. Is like you can't realize it in yourself, but like.
Regular people don't see the difference.
No.
My wife, who is married to me and has known me for years, pretty much said that to me. She's like, regular people don't get what you're into. And like, I always fall victim to the fact that like, I think cars are cool and that it like transcends. Like it doesn't. Like it just doesn't make sense.
I'll probably disagree with you a little bit there. I feel like my car or like whatever is close enough to a normal car. Like maybe
Not at all.
maybe,
It
No,
isn't.
not even close.
compared
It's
to
not
a
even a
Kaido
car that
Racer.
was sold. Though. Your car wasn't even sold here.
No, but you're comparing it to some fucking car that's got like a weird ass long grill and some stupid exhaust.
Yeah, I'm
like,
comparing it to a
fucking
car that's
marshmallow
right-hand drive.
interior.
Well, not
and
that
like
one.
and like a fucking front lip that sticks out 6 feet. Like, no, it's not the fucking same, man. It's not.
But
You're also talking about the most extreme one. But
yeah,
That's a Kaido Racer. I don't
No,
consider those
there's-
dudes that message you. I don't consider his car a Kaido Racer. Do you?
man.
That's just a cool fucking like X8 that's like done with
Yeah,
small
I mean,
wheels.
that's
I
It's a weird-
still think though that like the line, people don't see the line.
Who's people though? We're
Just-
talking about car people.
Yeah. I'm not now.
no. We were talking about like normal people, how they view.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Like a normal person views your car as like a crazy car, and that like
Yeah.
like a normal person views you as like trying to show off and do all these things that you just said about these Kaido people.
I think if you lined them up, people would be, if they put you next to like your car next to a crazy Kaido car. I'm not disagreeing with you that people would be more flabbergasted by a crazy Kaido car that has a giant like lip, like front spoiler and overs and all that stuff. But I think like you're still in the group of like incomprehensible to regular folk is what I think. That's what I'm saying. Which I think is what Kevin might be saying. It's like there's a line and we live on the other side of the line. And it's like things that I think are cool, probably other people don't think are cool. And too bad for them, I guess. I don't know. Anyway.
Too bad. So
Yeah.
sad.
Yeah, they're missing out. They're being vanilla. But Kaido, so Gerard, you're like just adamantly opposed. Never in your life you would not. You could build unlimited cars with unlimited budgets, and none of them would ever be. You would never get bored enough.
No,
to build a
I
Kaido.
wouldn't do it because I would. I guess my version of that would be a Decatur truck. Like I would build that. I mean, I understand it's like fucking immensely more expensive and way more crazy, but like I think the Decatur trucks are cool. I don't think the Kaido Racer cars are cool.
Do you not love a lot of old Japanese cars, Gerard?
Okay, but we're not old Japanese cars are not Kaido Racers.
No,
Old
I know.
Japanese cars are old Japanese cars.
Full stop.
Like I honestly, I think those guys they take old Japanese cars and they fucking ruin them. Like they I know ruining is kind of like a relative term. Like we ruin new cars all the time.
You kind of like ruin cars.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like they take it.
Yeah. But you know,
they're not.
I'm different. I'm Gerard.
No, I guess it looks too far from like the original car in like a negative way, in my opinion.
Isn't that the game we play? Not actually. Not the negative way. Negative is.
But that negative is also subjective, and like you could say that shit about like, you know, all those crazy cars that like from the 70s that where they're like fully not anything like the actual car used to be. You know,
those cars look cool.
Some of them do. Yeah, some of them. Look
There's also like the
sick,
Nopi era, like which is on the tail of the 2000 era of Japanese cars, where like people were taking Japanese cars and making them fully not look like the car that was intended to be.
Okay, so maybe one of the biggest problem I have with Kaido Racer cars is they're not actually low. Like if somebody maybe you would literally take that exact same Kaido Racer car and you fucking put 18s on it and you dump it like actually, so like the car height maybe changes a little bit, but the wheel to tire fender changes so that it's like actually slammed. I might think that car is pretty fucking cool. I just don't like the small wheels with like the gap and then the giant flares and like it just none of that.
No, I don't want the gap either. I want no wheel gap. I agree.
Nobody wants no gap.
Gerard, what's your favorite old Japanese car?
How old and how Japanese?
How Japanese? Fully
Oh, that's-
Japanese.
Okay,
Well,
so
like,
how
like-
old? Like 70s?
Yeah, 70s.
What car would I spend, let's say, 10 grand on?
Oh, any car now, but okay, go on. Yeah. What car would you spend 10 grand on?
Okay, there's a couple of cars. One is a 1980 Toyota Corona. I've always loved those Toyota Corona sedan. It's kind of a weird like transition year. It's like just into the 80s. I love that. I do love X7s. I don't know. I'd probably build an X7 wagon. Old Nissans, like an old Laurel. I mean, that's like unobtainable money. Like an old Laurel would be fucking sick. Like a 68, something like that. I think that's what year they are. I mean, I grew up on all those cars, but I think they're super sick. Like
I know,
72
but you have a
Corolla.
name in it.
72
Okay.
Corolla Buddy had one of those. We built that. 72 Celica had that, built that. I mean, I had a 69 Cortina. That's not Japanese, but it's a wagon and
we
cool.
remember that.
I'm not a huge fan of 510 wagons. 510s generally, I'm kind of not a fan of. I don't know. Like
You
they're
wild
cool.
right now.
They're really cool.
You
But like,
wild.
I would. There's a lot of other Nissans I'd rather have than a 510.
What other ones?
710, 610. There's a lot of really cool, like weird ass Nissan wagons that are super cool. Toyota Mark II wagon, like the old ones. I used to have a 72 Mark II coupe. That was pretty cool. I had to throw it in the garbage because it was rusty, but like that was a really fucking sick car. Yeah, I like all those old cars, honestly. I guess I just named pretty much all of them. But if I could build one that would, like, let's say somebody gave me 20 grand and I had to build a Toyota that was like, it would be between an X7 wagon and a 1980 or 81 Toyota Corona.
Interesting.
Mhm.
Kevin,
I like a lot of those ugly 80s cars, the cars that like look fucked up with the square headlights. I like those cars.
Yeah, I Googled an 80 Corona and I thought that's not a nice car.
Yeah, it's like it's got this weird thing where the grill goes into the hood. There's only like 2 years of it, I think. And the reason I like that car, man, and this is honestly like maybe I should really build this car, because the reason I like that car is because when I was younger and I first moved here, there was one that used to drive around in Surrey, and it sounded fucking nuts, and it was really cool because I never really liked sedans when I was younger. Like I always wanted like the coupe or the two-door or whatever, but like this Corona would drive around Surrey and it was slammed and it had steel wheels, trim rings widened, but it just like kind of looked like it was my first taste of like bigger car, because all the cars we were into like 510s and like Celicas and Corollas, they were all tiny. And I would never, ever look at a four-door 510 because I think they're fucking ugly. I would never, ever look at a four-door Corolla because I think they're fucking ugly. Wagon, it gets a pass because it's a wagon. But like that Corona somehow like looked cool as a four-door. And it was probably the first four-door vehicle ever that I was like, hey, that thing's pretty fucking cool. Anyways, that's why I think I should probably actually honor my childhood and build one.
Well, you got some work to do.
Well,
Kevin, I feel like your answer is a Corolla.
Yeah, honestly, like I've had the Corollas. I've one car that I kind of want is a 84 like Celica coupe. Like not the hatch, but like
Yo, is that the one with the extra little mid window? Coupe has a trunk, right?
It has a trunk, yeah.
Okay. You remember that one that was is it not a lift back, but it was a hatch, but it had the extra like window? There were two versions. Okay, I'll show you one.
I just want that car, or like I'd even have the hatch, like Dylan just got.
Oh, you said Celica?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. I was talking about Corolla.
No, and then I don't know. Yeah, I think if I had an old car, I always like want to build another X7, but like I was talking about this recently, and it's like, is it really that car, or was it just like the time in your life that you had that car?
Ooh.
Was the car that great, or was it just like the memories that you had during that time, or like what you could do during your life during the time that you had that car that made that car feel so great?
That's a great thought. That's the middle. I like that your midlife crisis car will be that. Like recapture. It's like, what are you doing? It's like recapturing my youth
Yeah, just trying to hold on.
with an accent.
But yeah, I also I would. That's the thing. It's like the car that I had like the most fun with probably was like that TE sedan that I had, but like, was it just the most fun because the car was $200 and like it didn't matter? Nothing about the car ever mattered, so it was just a lot of fun, or like, you know. But yeah, I've always wanted to build one of those Celicas. Someone wanted to trade me a beams swapped one for the Aristo. I kind of wish I would have did it, but whatever. It is what it is. Maybe one day.
But none of those versions of that are Kaido, right? You're not building a Kaido car. You have your own take on it.
Like I would Kaido the Echo. So
but then that's like arguing with those VIP people. It's not going to be Kaido because it's not period correct and blah 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 and like fucking bullshit.
No, totally, and they're right, and then, you know, and it's like, and it's because I don't have enough respect for that culture
to like give a fuck,
to spend the money to do it on a proper car and do it properly. I just want to dip my toe in it, like, as a joke.
Yeah, because it's stupid.
Well, I'd rather go spend my money on my drift car or whatever, you know?
Yeah. Fair.
And I think one thing we talked about during that Kaido talk that we talked about earlier was like that maybe you can do it for cheap.
Yeah, that's my whole thing.
You could like roll, you know, cut your springs and roller paint your car.
Yeah, see, I guess that's why I
and
don't
like maybe
not...
maybe you could get 0.6 of the way there or some shit, you know.
Yeah,
I guess that's
my
thought.
But that's the same thing. There's those cars at drift events too. You know.
Yeah.
There's those cars everywhere in every scene.
Okay,
I've just tried to do the minimum, you know.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I'm okay with being that guy in that scene.
Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of, I don't know what I'd build a Kaido Racer around, but I do like old Japanese cars. Like I love a 240Z, like, you know, 260Z, any of the Zs. I like that. I like old Skyline. I like old Nissans. I'd be having those in my life.
Yeah.
It's pretty sick.
I'll send you the Corona I like, Ryan.
Okay.
Is it a beer?
It is a beer.
Yeah. Good. And then the other thing about these Coronas too is like nobody ever fucking does them up. I don't know why. Like they're fairly rare, but like people just don't like them, I guess.
Because I don't think there's an example of it being done well.
But that's the stint. Like, wouldn't that be a perfect reason to do it?
No. That's
people
only
can't.
You.
Yeah, people can only do what they've
only
seen done.
You work like that. I don't like. There's a small group of people that function that way. That look at a thing that's like, this has never been done, and I need to be the one to do it. Most people see a thing they like and they say like, how can I emulate that?
Yeah.
But put my own spin on it, like make it my own. You're avant-garde.
To
break that down, you're a thought leader for things people don't care about. is the real problem.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
cold-blooded.
I don't mean that in a mean way. I'm just saying that's actually what it is. It's like, yeah, Gerard, I looked at that car and I was like, yeah, Gerard would build a cool car. And you're like, why wouldn't anybody else do that? It's like, because I've never taken the time to look at a Corona because I'm always looking for 510s
or Celicas
Zs,
or Corona, Corollas.
Yeah. Like it takes a je ne sais quoi to see that and then be like, oh, I'll do that thing. Everybody else is just trying to emulate another thing. You're trying to like break a path. Never be the first, Gerard. Never be the first. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to our podcast. As usual, we appreciate it. And I hope
we appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, we do. I hope you enjoyed learning about fireworks. Car
And
meets,
BC history.
BC history, Kaido Racers, Small
Oh my
Wheels,
God, the
and
Pac-Man.
Burnouts. All right. Gerard's on his own. Gerard's off on his bullshit, so he's not going to say goodbye.
I mean, did you see this thing?
No,
Just say bye.
I only sent it to you.
My
Sorry.
God,
Send it
it's
to
so
Ryan.
cool.
It's so good, yeah.
Fucking so good, dude.
Gerard,
Dude,
say bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye,
Look up
sweet
these
dreams.
Old awesome cars.
Thanks for listening to Serial Podcast 9.